Lagos is one of the largest coastal megacities in the world. It is home to the main port of West Africa and it is the commercial capital of Nigeria. More than half of Lagos' population live and work in the coastal area, which is of high economic, social and environmental value to the nation. Just like other coastal cities around the world, the state of aquatic splendor faces high risk of coastal and urban flooding due to climate change and rise in sea level. Recently, Lagos was hit by heavy rains and thunderstorms that left many parts of the city flooded. Residents of the Lekki and Victoria Island woke up on a Saturday morning to see their homes heavily flooded. Their streets became a massive river and their cars were submerged. The floods were so much that some resorted to paddling off canoe to get out of their homes. In just a few days, the premium estates in Lagos State were almost washed away by stubborn flood. But Lagos was not alone in this environmental mess. Many states in Nigeria were equally flooded. Even outside the African continent, Japan and Paris were hit by flooding. Lagos State Commissioner for the Environment went out for inspection to find out an urgent solution to the massive flooding on the island. He moved from Yaba to Ikoyi, Victoria Island and then Lekki and Ajah. During the inspection, Babatunde Adejare detected most of the problems that aggravated the flooding. He warned residents to desist from dumping refuse in canals and gutters.
It's multifaceted. It is not about climate change alone, but climate change accentuates the flooding problem. There are some issues too, like dumping of refuse, and also people building on drainage channels. I can tell you categorically that we are going to remove some of them that are really blocking those drainages. We cannot allow you to, by your own mistake, jeopardize the lives of other people living around you in that area. We went around yesterday when it was still raining in the range. We knew what happened. We tried to relieve some of them, and the bigger ones, like tide rise, is not something we can do anything about other than to wait for the tide to go down, and there will be flow of the effluent from us into the lagoon. In all we are doing is to make sure that nobody is even have the chance, the opportunity to drop his refuse into the drainage anymore, because we are going to provide a state-of-the-art services that will take away the refuse almost immediately.
And that will go a long way in reducing flooding in the state?
Yes, because there won't be any refuse to block and clog these drainages. What happened yesterday is a global phenomenon. It happens everywhere. It has just happened in Japan. It had happened in China, where lives were lost. It's not because of lack of preparation, but because of climate change and this phenomenal global phenomenon that is happening now. So therefore, we've always preached this, that when you see that the rains is persistent, please, if you are living by the big water bodies, move upland, stay with your relatives. Give it 1 or 2 days, the rains will cease, and you can come back to your place. And that is what we have been saying. And we also said that for those of us that are in the habit of dumping our refuse into the drainage, we have asked them to stop doing this. We have not only been preaching this top order to them, we've also gone ahead, His Excellency has gone ahead to bring about this reform in the management of solid waste. What have we done? We know that to have a solid waste management system, according to world best practices, we need 2 things. We need to infuse more capital, more funds into that system. And we need to infuse technology too into it. This is what we have done. They are going to bring new compactors into this place, into Lagos. They are going to use technology, those compactors will be electronically tracked so that we will know where they are at every point in time and which part of Lagos that have not been visited.
The commissioner said that recent flooding has again reinforced the need for residents to observe safe and hygienic conduct in order to reduce the effect of the flooding being recorded in some areas.
We have even having another system of clearing these drainages. We have this retainership system where we have identified big companies that have been given zones and for them to go after these drainages and clean them. They have been doing so much. We know this is a coastal area. We have over 202 primary drainages, the big ones, and as such, we know we need to do a lot to really keep them and maintain them, and we are very much at it. These people, if you see the way they do it now, they don't allow the silt they bring out to be there for so long. They cut it away immediately. And we do this pre-rain, during the rain, and after rain. Somebody must have done a cutting in here. We will look at it. We've just seen it. We will look at it and find out who did and how to go about repairing it as soon as possible. In a matter of days, we will see that they do this. This wouldn't have caused the flooding. It would just have caused more damage to the place if it's not quickly repaired. And you know, asphalt is not friendly with water, and as such, we cannot leave it like this. I will get it reported to the, especially Ministry of Works and LASMIRA, the people that gives them the permit to always cut this road. We will talk to them and see that this road is urgently fixed. It's a very important connecting road to so many places. We will see that it is done.
The plan is there, but again, it's not driven by anything than the citizens themselves.
In a bid to combat the perennial flooding in Lagos, the Lagos state government says it is set to partner with the State of Israel, especially in harnessing modern technology available in the Middle Eastern nation. Governor Akinwumi Ambode, who made this known at a water technology and environmental control sensitization workshop, said there was no better time to consider environmental issues than now. The governor said this against the backdrop of the recent flash floods witnessed in some parts of the state.
We don't have problems, we only have challenges. And it's from that perspective that we need to look at what has happened in the last few days. These things are bound to happen. It's a global thing that is happening. So it's just a new challenge that we'll need to face. It's not a problem at all, and we're actually on top of it.
Governor Ambode maintained that environmental issues such as flooding were not peculiar to Nigeria or Africa alone. He made references to United Kingdom and Japan, saying they have their own experiences of flooding at one time or the other.
The incidence of flooding is not circumscribed to our country, nor is it a peculiarity of the third world. You may wish to recall that the UK was heavily flooded this year, and indeed witnessed some of its worst flooding since records started in 1901. Japan, a country that is equally technologically savvy, has also not been spared heavy flooding this year. No matter how well a society may be prepared, we can never rule out the elements of the natural, or if you like, the supernatural. This is why Lagos State and indeed Nigeria fully subscribes to the tenets of climate change solutions by the United Nations. While all the aforementioned examples enjoin us to put our experience and pains into perspective, they also impress on us as a state and a government that we must learn from all these examples in order to better prepare for the future. To that extent, we will reinvigorate our campaign against the dumping of refuse by citizens into canals. We will be stronger in enforcing our fiscal planning laws, especially those building illegally on canals and blocking the free flow of water across the state. No matter how much a government may try, if its citizens do not do their part, the efforts will amount to futility. If we desire a new look Lagos that will be globally competitive, we as residents of Lagos must bear new attitude towards our civic obligations at all times. I use this medium to call on all of you here today as critical stakeholders in the water and environment sectors to join hands with the government in order to find a lasting solution to the problem of water shortages and flooding in Lagos.
Israel was one of the first countries to successfully overcome its limitations in water resources. This is why the Lagos State government decided to partner with that country in developing water technology and environmental control.
Our intention is to explore a wide area of technological advancements and possibilities to ensure that we obtain the best solution to a rather nagging problem. WATEC is a regular conference hosted by Israel, and it is our hope that as a state, we'll be present at the forthcoming WATEC conference in Israel later in the year to take advantage of what we believe is the state-of-the-art technology that it's happening in Israel that we can also apply to Lagos.
The Israeli ambassador to Nigeria, Guy Feldman, said every challenge faced created room for planning and solutions, noting that floods inflict the second highest damage of all natural disasters.
And his team to focus on whatever they wish. I don't think we have a solution for everything, but we might have a lot of ideas with the ability and government of the state of Lagos going to Israel, picking up exactly the issues they want to deal with, and the innovation. Sometimes, as I told you, it's not so hard. Sometimes it's very simple. So we are going to work with that hand in hand with not, by the way, only Lagos State. We're trying to do it with all countries around the world, specifically in Nigeria. But this mission going to Israel will come back, I think, with a basket full of innovation and ideas that can be fully implemented here.
Beyond this, Inside Lagos visited the Lagos State Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Steve Ayorinde, to fully understand what the flood control strategy is and when the plan will be implemented.
Israel, like Holland, have dealt with this sort of situation before. Every coastal area, look at what happened in Japan, on Thursday, 25 people lost their life. It isn't that Japan does not have the money or were not prepared to deal, with that sort of a thing. It isn't that most of the areas that were affected by tsunami, and you recall that Israel was one of the countries at that time that adequately predicted and were prepared, for the tsunami that happened in 2011. So we know that Israel has got the technology and the technical know-how, and it will be important to partner with a state and effective, an effective state, like Israel. So it's about transfer of technology, transfer of knowledge, of technical know-how, and if you like, a bit of investment in the areas of water provision, in the areas of the environment, in the areas of making sure that Lagos is a lot cleaner, is greener, in the area of flood control. We need to tap into the knowledge of those who can do it a lot better than us. We do not claim to know it all. We will always want to learn, and we think that Israel will be able to be a worthy partner, to Lagos State, in those areas. Mega status or mega city status hasn't got anything to do with, if you like, natural disasters. Flooding will be part of it, and the sort of flooding that we witnessed in Lagos, especially on the Lagos Island area, was largely caused by climate change, global warming essentially, because again, we need to be very conversant with what is going on around us. I am not trying to make any excuses for the government or even for the residents of Lekki or for the Ministry of the Environment. But between Thursday and Sunday, practically every coastal city in West Africa experienced one form of flooding or the other. It happened in Ghana on Thursday, in Accra, and a few other cities in Sierra Leone, practically all the Western states. Not to talk about, say, Japan and everything. No excuses, just trying to say that this speaks to the warning that we have been sending out since January, when the Meteorological Society of Nigeria warned that the volume of rains to be expected this year will be a lot higher. And therefore, the sort of rain that we had on Saturday was a confirmation of the warning that at some point in the year, the type of rain that we had last in July of 2011, if you remember, that a similar thing happened in July 2011, was going to be experienced. Therefore, we were ready. The sanitation gangs in Lagos State were ready. The Ministry of Environment, was ready. Practically everybody was ready. And we thought that the residents and the public too should be ready, which was why almost on a daily basis, we were sensitizing, the people, issuing press releases, granting interviews, running a series of advocacy adverts on TV, just for people to be prepared. But of course, if it were just to be a question of blocked drains or indiscipline or inadequacy of drainage system, the impact wouldn't have been that much. But the impact was high just because the volume of water was a lot, higher than the type of rain that we used to, experience. You can't reduce the number of rainwater because if it rained continuously for 18 hours or for days, there's about little that you can do in terms of the volume of water. But there's a lot that the government can do, that citizens and the public can do, that government indeed, carried out in the last 2 days. And you saw that our flood abatement unit were all out. Our emergency rescue operations were all out. We were given information. People were there 24/7. We're glad that there was no casualty recorded. If there had been any, or if there had been anything close to something that would constitute danger to human lives or property being swept away, we were ready in terms of evacuation. We were ready in terms of medical emergencies. We were ready in terms of, even if it was going to include, using the helicopter. We were ready in terms of the health issues that would be the fallout of it. But nothing of the sort, thankfully, happened. The major thing we witnessed was that the level of the flood was a lot higher. People couldn't, it impaired movement, which was why we were saying to people that it was better to either stay at home or stay where you were at that particular time, because once you have that level of flood or that level of water on, on the ways, on the street, it will take a minimum of 6 hours, for the water to start receding. It isn't so much about, drains being blocked. It's about the fact that the water on the lagoon was a lot higher, and then the rainwater, was adding to what we had already. We shouldn't forget the fact that Lagos State is a coastal state, and Lagos Island in particular is a lowland, and therefore that presupposes that any time there is rain to start with, it is important that a resident should be on high alert, not to talk of a time that repeated warnings had gone out. What we did is what a responsive and a responsible government will do ideally in a situation like that. It was not a situation that warranted evacuating people. All we did was to send an advisory. But for our larger plan, without, and I need to quickly point out that if we had gotten to a situation where we needed to evacuate people, we would have done so, because everybody had access to the emergency lines that were provided, and people were calling just to say that, the situation in my residence is this, the water is up to a certain level, but we're able to pump out. It does not require, maybe the car has been submerged or a house has been submerged, and no house, frankly, was submerged, because we have 2 functional relief camps in Lagos, one in Agboa, close to Ekpe, another one in Igodo, which were waiting if we needed, to move people. Because we know that ultimately, all these areas, say Lekki, Aja, places that are that share, close proximity with the ocean, with the lagoon, will be usually will be affected anytime that there is major rains like this. Government has again approved another relief camp in Lekki itself. It is not ready yet, but we know that in subsequent years we will need a place in Lekki before people go to Agboa. What is the overall thing? One, we're not in control of climatic changes, occasioned by global warming and everything. But we can at least educate people, advise them. Anybody that would choose to go and build, houses in coastal areas and areas that are sort of predisposed, to flooding, one has to be aware of the dangers that are associated with it. It is like taking a particular medicine for a particular, ailment. Medicine will kill you. Medication will kill you. But then you are also advised that there could be side effects. And side effects of choosing to live in certain areas is the likelihood, of flood, which might be beyond what government can control by providing good drainage, by making sure that people don't block the drains, by working on the discipline of our people, by ensuring that man-made areas that we're able to deal with them, which we are doing without a doubt, but there are other things that we can't deal with, other than to say, if it gets to this point, government will be very proactive and make sure that we, no life, is lost. But thankfully, we are upgrading, as we speak, the drainage master plan for Lagos State. You have to be aware that a good number of the areas around this place are new areas, so to speak. And therefore, development in terms of adequate drainage system, the drainage system that will allow free flow of water, into the lagoon.
Blocked drains is not only the problem. Poorly planned construction and bad waste management are also threats to coastal cities, worsened by climate change, induced rising sea level. The Commissioner for Information and Strategy says illegal structures will be removed from the island to reduce the effect of the disaster.
It is deadly, it is dangerous, it is not good for them, it is not good for the environment, it is not good for the state, and it will not be allowed. They just have to be prepared, and to see reason with government that when it comes to the issue, the sanctity of life, the issue of safety, and general, safety of the public, the overriding public interest will have to prevail. But of course, there will be consideration for people that might be affected. But if it has to get to the point of having to relocate people, I think people should just show understanding and be prepared that, we will have to do that which is needful. Those are areas that government will now use this opportunity to say that we have to right the wrongs, that have been there, for years. It means that houses or illegal structures that are on the ways, on canals, on ways that will block water, will have to go, and for a good reason, for the good, of the general, public. Those things will have to be carried out. And those are the things that I'm sure that the expanded drainage master plan for Lagos State, accommodating Badagry, accommodating Ekpe, accommodating Lekki, and all the other new areas will address, which means that it won't be sufficient anymore to say that I got a permit. It is not likely that you will have gotten a valid permit, and in any case, overriding public interest will demand that we revisit certain things in the general interest, of the public, and those are the things that people living in lowlands, in coastal areas, should watch out for, should be ready for. That decisively we'll have to address it. But I believe that with the Cleaner Lagos initiative and all the effort that the Environment Ministry is making, we can, before any emergency situation arises, we can at least deal with 50%, of those issues if the drains are cleared in good time, if sensitization is done, in good time, if we do not allow or take away, any obstructions on canals and on drains, on ways of the, of the drainage system, it means that we will have reduced the impact just in case natural disasters occur that we may not have total control over.
The road to saving Lagos from being washed away by floods may be bumpy, but there is light at the end of the tunnel. In a bid to complement the ongoing transformation of Lagos State to a world-class economy and a beautiful place to live in, Iru Victoria Island Local Council Development Area has inaugurated some projects. To beautify the area, the Local Council Development Area converted one of the popular roundabouts to a green park, constructed Bishop Kali Road, and donated buses to the Community Development Committee in the Council Development Area.
This particular project is one of the directives of His Excellency to go and create parks and gardens. I looked for space, I couldn't find any space. His Excellency also directed that they should go and clean up in the Victoria Island and the Koyoba Lende, and we started cleaning up. It's during that cleanup that these two areas became available. It's about moving Lagos forward. It starts from individuals. It's not a collective effort, but individual effort that will fund something like this.
For all she has done, she has really tried a lot. If everybody, including the incoming chairman, if they will do little but mighty things like this state will change.
Is following the footsteps of a performer, brilliant, amiable, and action governor of Lagos State.
This is the essence of good governance. This is all we care about. This is what we call representation.
The projects were constructed on sites earlier occupied by hoodlums. With these projects, residents now have more places to visit and relax. And that's a package for today. Let's make our environment our friend. Thanks for watching. See you next time.